Another 30-day challenge is over, my friends. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and 30 days is up with the HTC One X Plus, and it's been a wild 30 days because the HTC One was announced, or the One 2, whatever you want to call it in comparison to this. I've got my conclusions with the One X Plus, and they're coming up right now. So 30 days is up with the HTC One X. I've been using this one actually as my personal device for the past 30 days with one of my SIM cards in it. I've been really impressed overall with the look and feel. You know, if you remember when I did the review of the HTC One X, I was not a fan of the build quality. I knew it was great build quality, but I wasn't a fan of the design, I should say, for personal use. I much preferred the Evo 4G LTE. Kind of dig the industrial design over the One X and the One X Plus. But I will say, getting into the challenge, I found that I enjoy this a lot more than I ever did. So that's something that's really impressive. After using it for about a week, 2 weeks, I found that it was relatively easy to hold in the hand. It's got a 4.7-inch HD display. So not only is it beautiful, but it's pretty easy to hold in the hand. It's not as big as the Note 2 or some of the other devices on the market. I can stretch my finger across most of it. And granted, I have pretty long fingers, but I can still get it all the way across to the other side of the display. It's running Android 4.1. This kind of gets on my nerves, the power saver that sticks up in the top in the notifications bar, but running Android 4.1 with HTC Sense version 4 Plus with complementary focus issues on the camera. I'm just kidding. But you can see here, typical 4.1 look and feel with HTC Sense 4 Plus. I really dig the keyboard, and I deleted most of my message, so I can go into the John demo message here to show you the Sense 4 Plus keyboard. Not a fan of the Sense 4.1 keyboards that came on like some of the older devices, the One S when it launched, and some of the lower end and mid-range HTC devices, but I've been relatively impressed all around with this keyboard, both in portrait and in landscape. It works incredibly well. And I will say I've been impressed with the one on the HTC One as well. The one on the HTC One. Say that 3 times fast and you will really confuse people. But overall, keyboard's been impressive. I like the personalization options. I like the lock screen personalization options. The biggest downside, honestly, to this phone is the fact that it has 1 gigabyte of RAM. And obviously, since I started carrying it under the 30-day challenge, the HTC One was announced. So obviously, it trumps the One X Plus. What I do like about this, though, great keyboard, Android 4.1, the build quality is nice, and it presents a compelling alternative to those people that don't want the Note 2 or the Galaxy S3 or the Droid DNA. You've got another option if you're on AT&T or Verizon or whatever other carrier. You've got an option here with great specs, minus the fact that it only has 1 gigabyte of RAM. Better yet, it's got 64 gigabytes of internal storage. So if you're a media buff, this is going to be a good device for you to consider. The downsides for me, honestly, are about the same after 30 days. It's really having the 1 gigabyte of RAM. It needs 2 gigabytes of RAM to work incredibly well, like the Droid DNA does. And then also, it needs a better battery. It's got a 2,100 milliamp hour battery, which is an improvement over the One X's 1,800 milliamp hour battery. That said, needs that 2,100 milliamp hour battery. It needs to be a little bit bigger. I'm thinking like 2,500 milliamp hours at least. You know what? We'll see. The One has a 2,300 milliamp hour battery, so we'll see how it performs in day-to-day use. I was pretty impressed with it and the little hands-on that I had prior to the launch. So overall, an impressive device. I like the internal storage. I wish it had more memory, and I wish the battery were a little bit better. 4G LTE all around. I actually took the SIM card out of it since the challenge is over, but 4G LTE was relatively impressive as well, particularly in a market like the Dallas area. Build quality is great. Love it. Presents a compelling alternative, but overall, I'm going back to the Note 2 once my challenge is... actually, I'm going back to the Note 2 on this personal line, and I'm using the Nexus 4 right now on a 30-day challenge, as well with Straight Talk to compare some prepaid options that are available on the market. So keep it locked on PhoneDog.com. This challenge is over, but I'm moving on to the Nexus 4 challenge and focusing on it exclusively with Straight Talk and using it while I'm in Barcelona for work. You're going to want to stay tuned because I'm trying to find out more about stock Android, trying to use it more on a regular basis, and find out some of those tips and tricks that you speak so highly about. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com. Hit me up on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron, Facebook, Facebook.com/Hi Aaron Baker. Let me know what you think of the HTC One X Plus. Is this a device for you? Are you waiting for the One? Are you looking for a price drop on this? Do you like the Nexus 4, the Note 2, whatever the case may be? Always love to hear from you at PhoneDog_Aaron on Twitter. Thanks so much for watching. Keep it locked on the site for continuing coverage, especially as I go to Barcelona for Mobile World Congress 2013. I'll see you next time.